Welcome back, everybody, to Milk and Screams, episode 4. Coming off a pretty banger episode, if I do say so myself. I think we both enjoyed the last one. But we're moving on. We said that we peaked and that we were going to stop, but haha, jokes, we didn't.
You guys knew we were going to stop, so if anybody actually believed that we peaked and that we were going to stop, you played yourself.
Yeah, if that was the peak, I mean, I thought it was a good episode, but if we were just going to go ahead and say up front that that was our peak, then honestly, I'd be kind of sad about it.
Yeah. But there's definitely better things to come. Also, for all of you guys who have been, like, messaging us and, like, talking about the podcast or, like, just saying hi in person and talking about the podcast, we definitely really appreciate that.
Yeah, we got a crazy amount of support. Just this past week, a lot of people have been saying, like, reaching out specifically, talking about this, that, and the other. And it's been very recent in the past week. But it's very welcome. And yeah, we really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
It's fun to hear people's feedback and hear that they like this stuff. A lot of people, I only had one guy who was like, "This show sucks."
Wait, really? Someone said that?
No,
I was going to say, I was like, why did we not talk about this?
No, everyone's been super nice and given really good feedback that we've taken into account. So we really appreciate everybody who's talked to us. Really nice.
Today is a little bit different in recording. We don't video this, so it's not obvious. But yep. I am not sitting across from Jacob as I have been in the first 3. I am in my room with my door shut, and he's just outside of it at the table we normally record at because I had a little bit of a COVID exposure. So I'm
a little videxposure.
Yeah, I'm quarantining myself in my room, but we're still doing this. I just can't see Jacob and he can't see me. So it's very weird to try and have a long conversation with no eye contact or body language.
It's a bit like we're on the phone.
Yeah, right?
And it's gonna get weird, I can tell, because we're gonna like try and talk over each other. like we don't already do that, but
like we can't be like holding our finger up so we can like get a word in edgewise. We're just gonna be
arguing. Nah, it's gonna be good.
And I personally, I'm kind of bad at phone calls. I don't know what it is, but like not as in terms of calling a doctor or a dentist or whatever to set up an appointment. That's not really anything. But for some reason, when I'm just having a phone call with a friend, you put me on that phone for more than 5 to 10 minutes, and I kind of just run out of things to say because my brain just isn't operating properly.
Dude, I really feel like we should just get rid of phone calls altogether.
I mean, I love phone calls.
It's the worst. Write a message. Send a letter. Send a pigeon with a letter tied to its neck. I'd rather receive that than a phone call. I'm not joking. And the fact that you said that you can call a dentist or call a doctor and be like, "I've got a tummy ache" or whatever, it makes me feel inferior because I legitimately cannot do that. I don't know. I actually had a psychology professor who talked extensively about phone calls because that was one of people's, like, you know, not complaint. They were just like, he always noticed that young people were not good at talking on the phone because it's just we're so used to texting or emailing or whatever now. So he's like, part of the psychology of that is we talk in 3 ways. So we talk with our lips and like our like voice, so people understand language. That's a big part of it. One of the biggest things that we use is like body language to talk. So, you know, inflection or like body language is super important, and you can't hear that over the phone.
Right. I always hear numbers float around that. Like, it's 70% of how we talk. It's 95% of how we speak. And I don't know the number, but it's high.
I don't think it's 95%, but it's definitely high. And like, that's why there's a big statistic around people getting in car crashes when they're on the phone, talking on the phone, not just texting, but like on the phone because they have to focus so hard.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I that makes sense, I guess.
Well, yeah, that was my professor's point. He was talking about like driving and like the psychology of texting and driving, and then he's like, sometimes the statistics show even worse is talking on the phone while driving. And people are like, well, how can you like not focus while doing that? He's like, it's very easy. You have 3 ways of talking. You're not thinking, you know, about their, you know, you're focused so hard on getting their, you know, message, whatever their message may be, through to you. without looking at the person, without, kind of hearing some of their inflections and like their facial expressions. So while you're doing that, you're not paying attention to the road, even if you think you are.
Right. And see, that's why I'm bad at just casual phone calls with friends or I guess family members. But like I said, for setting up an appointment or whatever, that's why I'm not bad at that, because I don't have to try and glean some message that they're trying to give to me, and they don't have to work really hard to try and understand what I'm trying to get across to them. It's just, I need this, and they say, okay, because it's their job to listen to me and then make an appointment based on what I asked for or something close to it. And then the transaction has ended. I may never have to speak to that person again, so it's not a big deal.
You know what I find weird now? The shape of our phones. Because I was just thinking about, okay, if I'm talking on speaker, or if I have my headphones in and I'm talking to my headphones, I don't really have that much of an issue. But the thought of holding something against my face, like how flat and dumb our phones are, like I feel like I'm not being heard. And this was one of my dad's biggest pet peeves when I was a kid. I would smush the phone up against my face and either mute him or hang up the phone every time, because our phones were touchscreen, obviously. So, like in the before times, in the dark ages,
it were,
they had like, these handheld things that had like a speaker and a hear thingy. So you put the thingy up to your ear, and then there's a specific hole that you spoke into.
I think we're making ourselves sound way younger than
right.
we actually are, because we definitely use these phones.
Yeah, I'm not saying I've never used a phone like that, but our phones that we carry around with us every day are completely different shaped.
So you think our touchscreen phones should just have this big protrusion at the end of it that we can speak directly into, so we know that we're being heard?
Oh, 100% no. I just think we should never make a phone call ever again.
They should just be deleted.
Delete it. Send me a text. There's a not a trend, but just like a common message. If you can type it in a message, do not call me. I do not want a phone call from you. If it's like, hey, can you go to the grocery store? Do not call me. It's that simple. Don't do it. I'm getting heated now.
And this is why we wait for the days of holograms, where we have a call and we can see the other person's body. And then text messaging will be a thing of the past, unless you're in a reserved kind of need to know hush hush basis.
If you can holograph me, don't text me.
the new meme of 2040, we'll say.
Yeah.
When do you think we keep saying holograms? Holograms will actually be a thing of just normal society. With, I should talk to my mom. I haven't talked to her in a couple weeks. Boom, mom hologram when you call her.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, Kyle, but Kanye West had a Michael Jackson holograph at Kim's birthday party, so they're already hip and
those
swinging.
Are different. Those stupid holograms for the concerts where they like make it look like the artist is actually on stage. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but it's so stupid. I couldn't care less about those, to be honest. I used to get ads for them to invest in the company that was making these celebrity holograms, and I lost my mind because I would get these ads every other video I watched.
I like them because they're funny. Like I like them because they're stupid looking. Like I want to see one live. Like I want to see like a Grand Theft Auto 5 version of like Prince, singing Purple Rain and all these dumb effects. Like I want to see that because it looks so stupid all the time. But no, I think what is it? Holographs,
holographs. Is a holograph a thing? We keep saying it. I think we just said something that's not real.
Well, we can make it real.
Okay, they're called holographs now. We'll never use the word hologram again.
Guys, don't ever let me see you using hologram. It's holograph now.
If you are a part of this community, it's
if you
a
in
holograph.
this gang, if you in this gang, it is holograph from now on. Don't say that hologram shit around me. So I kind of wanted to get into your exposure, as we mentioned earlier. A little bit about that, if you don't mind to what's the word?
Give the quick lowdown.
Yeah, go ahead and load it onto us. Go ahead and
Alrighty.
pull up the the FedEx truck to our house and pull up that dumb gate that's on the back of the FedEx truck and start unloading the story details.
Yeah, let me give you the 411. What was that old show? It was like some Disney news show. They would here's the 365.
Oh yeah.
And do you remember that?
Yeah, it was stories from around the world or whatever.
So I'm going to give you the 365.
Do it.
Of the last 2 weeks.
Ready.
So Thanksgiving break happened. Obviously, it was the week of Thanksgiving. And typically, a lot of colleges at least will have school that Monday and Tuesday of that week. I never go to class on those days. So I always go home early. And I was going to leave the Friday before Thanksgiving and go home, which I did end up doing. But about a week before that, we got a text from my brother, my older brother, that said he had tested positive for coronavirus. And I was like, okay, that's not terrible, because by the time I get there, he'll only have 2 days left in his quarantine. So as long as he just kind of stays quarantined in the house, and when I get there and just stays in his room for 2 days, we'll all be safe, and then he can come back out and just hang out with us normally. So I go home, and like he stays in his room and comes back out normally. And so we're having a good time. We're chilling. And my mom, who is always she's always sick. She's always got something wrong in her immune system. She sees like 1 billion doctors daily.
She do be sick and
It's crazy. She got tested the same time as Walter from when he had gotten his positive test, and hers came back negative. And she was seeming a little sick when we got back, and the doctors had said that she had bronchitis, so we weren't really too worried about it. That's not super contagious. So it wasn't.
bronchitis?
Yeah.
I thought bronchitis was like super contagious.
No, I thought it wasn't contagious at all. So when she said it, I was like, isn't bronchitis not contagious at all? Aren't we good? And then she said, no, it's not really contagious. I think I might have been thinking of tuberculosis.
That's
I'm
what I
pretty
was
sure
thinking
that's
of.
not contagious.
Yeah.
But regardless, we were safe either way, and she was still wearing a mask just because like she didn't want to be hacking on us when she felt
hold
that
on.
way.
Did she have time for that though?
Did she have time for what?
Like, she got bronchitis. Ain't nobody have time for that? Did she have time for that?
Okay, we're gonna move on. I was so completely lost in what you were talking about.
Had to dig up. I had to get my what's it called? The big digger, like the construction digger. It's called like excavator. Is that what
An
it's called?
excavator. Yes.
Yeah, I had to get one of those out and dig that 15-year-old meme out. I got to go in there and get that. Sorry, go ahead.
So like she was feeling a little bit down, and then so that whatever day. I think she got tested the Saturday after I got back, like the day after I got back.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets tested again, and this one comes back positive.
Jeez.
So we're like, so we're like, okay, Walter's about to be off his quarantine, and so Mom isn't gonna have to be starting right now because she's had symptoms for a while. So most likely she probably contracted corona from him very soon after they had gotten that test, which was almost 2 weeks before that. So she starts quarantining in her room, so I don't really see her the next couple of days. And then she contacts the health department, and then they tell her that she's good to come out of quarantine that Wednesday based on her onset of symptoms.
Really?
Yes. So she's wearing a mask around the house all the time and staying a bit in her room. So I didn't really get to see her that much for like the first 5 days I was there.
Hmm.
And then so she finally gets to come out of quarantine on Wednesday, and we're hanging out like normal. And I was still wearing a mask around the house just to be safe. If ever she kind of came out of the room, I would put the mask on, and whenever I would walk around, just to be safe, because I was going to a wedding in Tennessee. And I didn't want to bring corona there and have it be me that stopped the wedding.
Also, a quick side note. Did Walter or your mom ever feel symptoms?
Like I said, my mom did, because she was kind of coughing all the time, and then they said bronchitis, and then it happened to be COVID that
Right.
She got definitely from Walter. He wasn't awful. Like, he had a little bit less energy than normal, and he couldn't taste or smell that well.
That's so crazy.
And my mom couldn't taste or smell either, but she can never smell regardless. Just she's always backed up with something. I don't know what things crawl inside of her nose day by day, but she can smell probably 10 minutes out of a day, and then suddenly she just can't smell anything anymore.
Jeez.
So every time she's gonna cook, she'll bring out meat that she bought like the day before and come out and say, is this meat okay? Does this smell like rotten eggs? And I'll smell like, no, it smells fine. Or it'll smell overly like rotten eggs because it's somewhat old meat, and she can't smell that either. I don't know what it is. She can't smell ever, anytime. But yeah, so they both couldn't taste or smell. And
made for an interesting Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we normally have Thanksgiving at my cousin's house every year. And this year they were already up in Tennessee getting ready for that wedding because it was my cousin's wedding. And so we just did Thanksgiving at our house. So we all cooked a different dish, and it was very weird to have Thanksgiving at my own house. That has literally never happened in the entirety of my life. And so we were eating, and me and my younger brother and younger sister are eating it up and eating all the dishes that we made, and we're having a grand old Thanksgiving. It all tasted very good. I made some baked macaroni and cheese that my aunt usually makes, and boy, let me tell you, that was some good baked macaroni and cheese.
And you didn't bring me back any, so I'm a little salty.
Well, no, how was I going to do that? I was about to go up to Tennessee and then back. It was going to be like a 5-day period before I got back, and my macaroni was going to have nowhere to go. It was going to be gross and nasty and moldy if I brought it back.
Excuses. Go on.
But yeah, so, and then my mom and my brother, we asked them, like, so how is your food? And then they said, we can't really taste it, but I think it's good from what I can taste.
Jesus.
Like that's gotta suck, right?
Yeah.
To have all this food. First of all, we made way too much food. Even my baked macaroni recipe, we doubled it because we were like, we all eat so much macaroni, we can eat this much. No, we barely got through half of that dish. I could have done the normal amount and we would have ended it perfectly. We had way too much food.
Yeah.
So that all goes down. And then so I leave for Tennessee Friday morning. Very early Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, to go up because I was a groomsman for my cousin's wedding. My cousin that was getting married is the same age as me. He's 4 months older than me, I think. So I get there middle of the day in Tennessee, and I get to the cabin that we were staying at for the weekend, and I'm hanging out with him and some of the other groomsmen that he obviously had chosen for his wedding, and we were hanging out that night at the cabin. And so the next day, we all get up and we're all making breakfast together in the kitchen, and Dylan, my cousin, he gets a phone call, and it's his fiance. And what we heard at the very beginning of the phone call was this. And we didn't really know what was happening because at first it kind of sounded like she was hysterically laughing. It sounded like she was having a grand old time, and one of her bridesmaids said something that was just the joke of the year and the pinnacle of comedy, and that Dylan was just gonna love it. But then his face kind of drooped, and then he walked out of the kitchen real quick to the room that he was staying in, and we all kind of looked at each other and we thought, oh, so this is not good news. This is actually the opposite of good news. This is bad.
Yeah.
And so he comes out, or rather his older brother comes out, and he says, so yesterday Dylan and Hallie had gotten tested for COVID because they needed to both test negative before they could go off to their way on their honeymoon. And Dylan's came back positive. And we're all looking around. We're like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. The groom, the day before the wedding, we get news that the groom himself has tested positive for COVID. And so we were freaking out. We were like, well, what do we do? We're supposed to have a rehearsal dinner today at 1, and then we're supposed to like get our own hangar at Topgolf and just kind of hang out and have a day.
Yeah.
So Dylan and Tyler immediately leave to go get rapid tested, just to see if that test would come back negative. And then if it did, Sunday, the day they were supposed to get married, they would go early in the morning again, get another rapid test. And if that one came back negative, we'd be good for just the regular wedding, because we would just assume that the Friday one was a false positive, because that is way more likely than a false negative. So that was what we were banking on. So they leave to go get tested, and they've got to drive an hour away just to get to a rapid testing site. So the rest of us groomsmen are just kind of hanging out at the cabin, and we go out back and we're playing basketball and throwing around a football, and we're all just thinking, this is crazy. And then one of the groomsmen asks, how do you think Hallie's taking this? And I was like, I honestly cannot imagine being the bride of a wedding that I've been planning for however 6 months, 7, 8, I forget exactly when they officially got engaged, but been planning this wedding for months now. And then the day before it's supposed to happen, of all people in the wedding party, it's the groom himself that gets a positive corona test. Like,
yeah,
I cannot imagine the way that she was feeling on that day.
So your family's not at all from Tennessee. Like, you guys all traveled up there.
Yes, so it's
Man.
Hallie's family that is from Tennessee.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so a lot of her family is up there. And then, yeah, we all traveled up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and like I was really excited for this wedding. I've never been in a wedding before. I've just been to a billion of them. But I'd never been in one, and I was really excited just to kind of, hang out with the boys for a weekend, and just be guys. Which
That's
still happened, but it was just a very different energy after we found that out. So it was like 1 o'clock or something when the rehearsal dinner was supposed to happen, but obviously we had to postpone / cancel it for the time being. And they call us, and the rapid test that they had went to that day also came back positive. So we're all like, okay, well, what in the world do we do now? Because obviously they're not going to have like the full-on wedding tomorrow if the groom has COVID. Like, that's just not going to happen. But us that are staying in this cabin, all of us groomsmen, what do? Do we stay here and wait for him to come back since we've already been exposed and it doesn't really matter that much? Or do we leave immediately? Are we all going home? What's happening? And so then they started working on a plan. And at some point, they finally call us back and they say, okay, here's what's going to happen. We are going to do a wedding with just this wedding party that has already been exposed at 4 o'clock. They're going to get married today. We're going to do this. And we were like, okay, let's do it. We were all down. Like, we were there to support Dylan. We'd already been exposed, so we had no qualms with doing this. And so we start getting all of our suits together. And this is about 1:30 that we kind of figured out this plan. And then I get called upon to go get flowers because the florist was going to deliver all the flowers the day of the wedding. Going to deliver them to the venue. So they were not ready to deliver flowers that day. And so I get called upon and they say, we need you to drive to the florist and go get the flowers. I said, okay, yeah, I can do that.
You can drive.
Yeah, I can drive. I drove 7 hours to get here yesterday. I'll drive some more a little bit to get flowers today. I said, where is it? And they said, it's in northern Georgia. It's about an hour and a half away. I was like, are you kidding me? I had to drive an hour and a half there and then an hour and a half back for these flowers, which, I was a little upset about, not because I was being asked to do some great task and I didn't feel it worth it or whatever. That's not it. But so I was driving from the Panhandle, so it was 6 hours up to where we were in Tennessee. I was looking forward to not having to drive at all Saturday or at all Sunday, and then drive the 7 hours back down here to Gainesville on Monday. But instead, I drive on Friday, and then Saturday I'm asked to drive another 3 hours, and then Sunday I'm leaving now because we're doing the wedding on the Saturday. So now I'm driving the 7 hours Sunday.
Yeah.
So now I'm just having 3 straight days of driving at some point. That was the only reason I was upset. But I was, it's for the bride. I'm getting flowers for the bride. I'm going to be one of the heroes of this wedding. And my ego is just through the roof. I was like, oh, I'm one of the best guys here. They need something and I can provide. And like my provider male complex was kicking in, and I was having a good old time at that point. So I go get the flowers, I come back, and by the time I get back, it's like 3:50. I immediately rush to where all the guys were changing and get into my suit. And so we have the small wedding with just the bridal party, which was adorable, and it was still very cute and very touching because it was a wedding, and it was the cousin that is my age that I've grown up with, and now he's getting hitched.
So okay, I never asked you this about the wedding. Like, what did the priest or whoever married them would do? Like, were they made aware that they had COVID as well? Like, what happened?
Yes. So I don't know the full story of that, but he kind of touched on it when he was speaking at the wedding, when he was kind of introducing everything. That he had said Hallie had called him just in hysterical tears, and he was almost here because he was going to be at Tennessee to stay the night and then be ready for the wedding the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So she had called him, and he was almost already at Tennessee anyway. So then he was able to get there in time and do the thing at 4 o'clock. So that was cool. But if that hadn't happened, Dylan's dad could have also done it. because Dylan's dad married the other 3 of them in the other 3 of his siblings
Right.
at
But
the other weddings.
I'm wondering, like, what was the distance of the officiating? Like I'm concerned of like the logistics of it, because
So
often like the wedding itself, like the ceremony, is very picturesque, and the pastor's right there, kind of personal. So I was just that was
yeah, so Dylan and Hallie were hand in hand, and then the priest was about 6 feet, if not a little bit farther back behind them, but still centered, just back
Right.
6 feet. And then all of us wedding party were kind of distanced also behind them, all about 5-ish feet from each other. So yeah, so everyone was moved away from Dylan or anyone that had been exposed, because all the bridal party had basically been exposed at this point. And then so just the priest was backed away 6
That's
feet.
so crazy.
And then like I said, I didn't say this yet, but the ceremony was about 10 minutes. It was pretty quick, and then we went into the reception part, where we all ate the food that we were supposed to have at the rehearsal dinner, and we still kind of we danced a little bit, and we were having some fun. And then anyone that left immediately went to wherever their homes were to immediately start quarantining. So yeah, it was just such a weird day, because I mean, you get news that the groom has COVID, and then you're all scrambling as part of the bridal party, like, what does he need from us? What does the bride need from us? What do we do? Who do we call? What do we tell all the guests that we know are coming? What do we tell them? Because they're not going to be able to come to anything tomorrow, and they're not coming to anything today, so they've already traveled. How do we handle this? What do we do? 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 We were freaking out.
Man, that's just crazy. I mean, I don't know what I would do in this situation, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, you would not expect that it to be the groom that is the one to test positive, or anyone to test positive, really, because you always think, yeah, it can happen,
also
but
funny
it won't
to me
be
how
it won't be us.
It's also funny to me how I talked about a COVID scare, and then you talk for like 15 minutes about how your family all has COVID, and then you drive up away from your family like, whew, thank God that's over. And then you're the person who's getting married.
Yeah,
has COVID. I think
we got lucky with my family, because, like I said, I got back home right as Walter's quarantine was about to end, and then when my mom had to start, she was allowed to come out a couple days later because of her onset of symptoms. So we got pretty lucky with the timing. I just didn't get to see her as much as I would have wanted to. And like you said, I get up and I'm like, okay, I got this 6-hour drive to de-stress and get away from all the corona that was in my house. And then I get up there, and then the next day, they're like, oh, the groom has corona. And I'm sick. I was around him for the past 18 hours straight. So I guess I got to quarantine as soon as I get back, which is what I'm doing, which is why, like I said at the beginning, I'm in my room, and I can't see Jacob, and we've got this weird wire situation through my door. It's a pretty scuffed setup that we've got going on because of this stupid virus.
Yeah, I really want this to be over. So now we should probably talk about a vaccine. What are your plans if there's a vaccine available soon, Kyle?
Here's the thing. Some people, I had a conversation with somebody recently. I don't remember who, but they asked, I think it was somebody in the groomsmen party, and they were like, when a vaccine comes pretty soon, are you going to be one of do any of you guys plan to, or would you like to be one of those first people that gets it? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so down, because whatever they've got coming from AstraZeneca is 95% effective right now. And I know some people are like, oh, I don't want to be one of the guinea pigs of the vaccine, because what about those long-term effects?
Here's the thing. You're not. They had thousands of guinea pigs.
That's what I was just about to say. The only way the vaccine goes through is through multiple stages, where each of those stages have an increased amount of people that they test the vaccine on. The third stage is like 10 to 50,000 people that they tested on, which is how they calculate the efficiency that the vaccine has. But then they're like, what about the long-term effects of the vaccine? Like, you just can't know that. Like, yeah, nobody can know that until someone takes it, and then, I don't know, something happens to them 30, 40 years from now. But
here's the thing.
You can't know that from the start until a long-term effect actually happens. I'm not worried about a long-term effect, because whatever it is, it most likely, hopefully, will not be a deadly long-term effect. I'll get itchy every now and then or something. I don't know, but it's not going to be that bad.
I think I think that this is a remarkable thing that people aren't celebrating enough, because in human history, since vaccines have been a thing, we have not made a vaccine this quickly, and we're about to make it for billions of people.
Exactly.
And the marvel of that is just astronomical. And I think people aren't accepting that. They're just so used to everything being so quick, like microwave. Like I mean, that's just my example. Like microwave everything. It's just like 15 seconds. It's got to be in my hand.
Right.
I've got to have it now. It's mine. Like people don't understand this. This should have taken 5 years.
Hey, I think that's like the minimum time it normally takes to get a vaccine out is like 5 years.
And every time in human history we've had that issue. Like thank God H1N1 wasn't that big of a deal.
I'm saying, dude.
Like they were able to just slowly work on a vaccine and get it out, and it wasn't that deadly, and people survived. And now, and because H1N1 was a coronavirus, we're able to look at that and observe. And the reason why this vaccine is coming out so quickly is because they're able to analyze other vaccines that we've used in the past for like SARS and other stuff.
Right.
And really, so we'll be even more prepared for the future.
And that's another thing when someone asked me if I wanted to be the vaccine. What about the long-term effects? Like someone has to be the first person to take it and try and move on. Like somebody had to be that first person once it came out of testing to go get the flu vaccine and be like, I don't know what these long-term effects may be, but this is going to end this right now, and that's what we all need. Well,
yeah, like I mean, even the first person to do a coronavirus vaccine test with one of the guinea pigs, if you will,
right,
was back in March. It was like 2 weeks after the breakout in America, and it was a woman in Seattle. It was the first person. She was an American.
Now, see, I can understand a little bit more about being apprehensive to be that person.
Yeah.
I can way more understand being apprehensive of that. But being apprehensive of getting a vaccine that is going to be distributed to the public because it's been determined to be 95% effective and will help get rid of this, I don't understand being apprehensive about that.
Yup. So, that's enough vid talk.
Yeah, we talked about COVID so much in the past however many friggin' months. I'm sorry I subjected you all to more of it, but that was just my story. That was story time with Kyle.
I think it's very interesting. I'm so sorry. My throat.
That's okay. I keep hearing you. Well, not keep, but just that last one. I heard you take a big gulp of what I assume was your Coke.
It was water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to get off the Coke because I was burping so much. Maybe we can edit this out or something. It doesn't bother me that much, but my throat's gross. Anyways, we're about to move on to something a little more lighthearted. Something that I think a lot of people who already listen to this, close friends of ours, quite enjoy. We're going to talk about the Dreamworks versus Pixar debate, if there has been one, but just like the differences between the two, and something I find interesting. I'll go ahead and start.
Do it
with the fact that I have always been Pixar boy.
Pixar has some fantastic movies.
Well, we all know that, but I've also just been known to be an anti-DreamWorks person. I don't really like the DreamWorks movies,
which has always boggled my mind because there are some bangers in DreamWorks.
I'm beginning to discover that, and we'll get to that later. But I think there were movies that just kind of threw me off when I was a kid. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this: a lot of people are not gonna find this very, very good. I guess I don't know. I wasn't the hugest fan of Shrek when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that was the movie. That was the
We hate you.
That was the movie that like set it off for me. I liked Donkey. Like I liked Donkey as a character. I think Donkey was a funny character. And
you would think that if you were just a normal human, Shrek would be the movie to make you say, DreamWorks is a great production company. What else have they done? And for some reason, you said, this is poo, well, and I want no more.
To be fair, I was a dumb kid. You know,
but dumb kids are who the movie is for. You should have loved it.
I don't know. I don't know why I didn't like it, but regardless, there were other movies that DreamWorks did that were garbage. Yeah, we can go ahead and get them out of the way. B movie. Garbage.
Whoa. Oh, you back that train up and you take that back. B movie, I'm pointing at you through the wall because I can't see you. B movie is also a fantastic movie.
It's not that great.
It is so good. It's such a good movie. Jerry Seinfeld has done two good things: the TV show and that movie.
You're so full of it.
The B movie is so good, dude. A bee falls in love with a human woman, and she kind of falls in love with him back. That is, mwah. That is only thing that's great storytelling.
The only thing that's good about B movie, first of all, is what was the guy's name? Not the Chad character.
Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton. Thank you. That's the name of the actor. I like Patrick Warburton, so he's great, and Jerry Seinfeld's great, and the memes are funny, but the movie itself, to me, not that great.
It's a good movie. He's about to get whacked in a supermarket, and he can tell just by the thickness of the magazine what type of magazine it is because he's so used to getting whacked at. Dude, that's just big brain storytelling from the writers being like, bees would probably know. And they start the movie with the fact that bees shouldn't be able to fly, and like how that's kind of almost a premise of how they start. It gives you facts. It gives you love. It gives you big brain moves from the writers about how they think bees probably think.
Okay,
it's a great movie.
So let's talk about some other ones, shall we? Monsters vs. Aliens. Do you like that one?
That's a great movie.
Kyle, please stop.
Dude, I watched that a couple months ago with my little brother. He had it on when in his room. I think it was like the very end of quarantine before we came back for the semester. He had it on, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen this movie in a couple years. I want to watch it again with you." That's such a good movie.
That was the first time I ever heard Seth Rogen's voice.
Seth Rogen, Rainn Wilson, the man who plays Dwight Schrute himself, is in that movie. Just that alone, good enough for me. That's a great movie.
Does he play the swamp monster?
He plays the villain.
He plays the villain?
He plays the villain.
Who's the villain in that movie?
I forget the villain's name, but he's the alien that is trying to take over the world with like the multiple eyes, and he clones himself.
Oh.
And he's like, "Hi, I want the Earth to be mine," and whatever the heck.
Yeah, there's a reason why that movie didn't get a sequel.
Because it didn't need one. It was perfect.
You're
start
so
to
full
end.
of it.
It's a great movie. That is a great movie. Give me another one that you think is a downer and a loser, and I will counteract with all of my DreamWorks knowledge.
As a series, the Madagascar series is not as good as the other series, and from what I understand, we're gonna get to this eventually.
Wait, have you not seen any of them?
I've seen all three.
Okay, well, you said from what I understand, and that kind of threw me off.
I was gonna get to that. From what I understand, meaning, I have not seen Kung Fu Panda, any of them.
About this.
And I have just begun to watch How to Train Your Dragon, which both of those are considered to be DreamWorks' magnum opus.
Okay, I'll give you this: the Madagascar series, not as great as the other series, but Madagascar itself, the first one, is a really good movie.
It's like I said, you're saying really good. I think you mean good.
No,
average.
I
okay.
mean really good.
Because when you put these up against what movies were coming out that Pixar was getting out, it is night and day. The voice cast is complete, and I've noticed something with DreamWorks especially. They get these huge actors who do on-screen acting to do their movies. Pixar started doing this, but for the most part, their classics are all voice actors. Like, I think the first one I can think of that's okay. I guess Bug's Life had a huge on-screen.
Well, I mean, even when you throw in Toy Story, you're putting in people like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen who are not voice actors.
Yeah, you got a point. I don't know what I was thinking.
Cars, you're throwing in Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy, not voice actors.
Yeah, you're right.
What was the other one I was just thinking of?
Either way, you're right. So why are you trying to make your point? Still?
Because I was thinking of another one, and I just want to throw it in there to firm my point. But I don't remember what I was thinking of. Anyway, go on.
So I haven't seen those movies, and there's actually a couple more DreamWorks movies that I haven't seen.
All the Kung Fu Panda movies, 1, 2, and 3, I think are really good. 2 is the worst of the 3. 3 is surprisingly very good. And I say very good, like actually meaning very good. Don't give me the, when you say
right.
very good, I think of me just good. The first
And
and
it's
third Kung Fu
surprising-
Panda are actually very, very good.
It's surprising to me that I haven't seen those movies because I love Jack Black. Jack Black's like one of my favorite actors.
He's
and
the best.
and I haven't seen that movie for some reason.
Oh, Aladdin. That's what I was thinking of. Robin Williams. They got for Genie.
Oh, right. You're gonna hate me for this too.
Do it,
Shark Tale.
dude. I knew you were gonna bring this up because I know that you hate that
It
movie.
is so
Another
bad.
fantastic movie. You have no idea how many times me and my siblings would quote that when we were younger.
I remember
because
watching
we
it when
thought
I
it
was a
the
kid
funniest thing.
and thinking this is the dumbest movie I have ever seen. And I was a kid, Kyle. Like I was watching SpongeBob and watching like dumb movies and thinking, oh my god. But like I couldn't even get through it now. Like for a meme or like for just laughing, I couldn't even get through it.
Oh,
like
and guess what? Another Jack Black movie that you have.
I know Jack Black is in that movie too. The cast is great. Will Smith, is it
Angelina Jolie, Martin Scorsese,
Martin
De
Scorsese's
Niro,
in that
Renee
movie? Like,
Zellweger.
what the frick? Like,
It's
what?
so good, dude.
I don't know, man.
It's such a good movie. They bet on the seahorse, and then he falls. He can't even get out of his cage, and they're like, "Oh, frick!" And they buy the weenies, and they call him a weenie, and you're like, "Haha, sucks, idiot." And the thing we quoted the most, I forget the fish's name, but when she was really mad at Will Smith's fish character,
Mhm.
and she said, "I just want to take your dummy head and." For some reason, when we were kids, we thought that was hilarious. The way she said it and like punched her other fin with her now balled up fin. We thought that was hysterical. Great movie. S tier DreamWorks. I don't want to hear it.
S tier?
Pretty
Okay,
much any
this is-
DreamWorks movie that I watched as a kid is probably an S tier DreamWorks movie.
Dude, okay. I'm going to get into a movie that I'm not sure if you've heard of. That I think is DreamWorks' best movie that I've watched so far. I haven't watched every one of them.
Okay.
Right? So, whenever I think peak DreamWorks, the first thing I think of is Megamind. I think Megamind is...
I love that movie.
Kyle, Megamind is like probably, all in all, one of DreamWorks' best movies.
I would 100% agree. That is also very top SS plus tier DreamWorks.
And it's a creative idea. It's not just like these animals could talk. It's just like it's a very creative idea. Wonderful voice acting.
They gave Will Ferrell a
engaging
lot of
story.
freedom in his comedy, and just that was very in his range.
Okay, but this is one that I think is very art. It's very much art, forward.
Okay.
Spirit.
Of course, I've heard of. Everyone's heard of Spirit.
Okay, first of all, no, not everyone has heard of Spirit. Unfortunately.
Here's another unfortunately, and you're gonna hate me. This is a movie that me and all my siblings, when we think of, like, if I were to ask any of my siblings, what do you think is the worst animated movie of all time? Probably all of us, Spirit runs through our mind. We all hated that movie as
Kyle.
kids, and I don't think I've watched it since. I just hated that movie, and we all did. We were like, my mom would be like, "You guys want to watch Spirit?" And we'd be like, "No, we don't want to watch Spirit. It's a movie about a dumb horse. I don't want to watch it. Give me Megamind. I want to see his big, fat, stupid blue head."
I cannot believe you right now.
We hated that movie. Hated it.
There is, okay, let me start here. Okay. First of all, Spirit's objectively good, but I will say there are things in that movie that bother me now. Like I think the narration where the guy's like cracking jokes. I forget the actor who did this movie. Oh, it was Marky Mark? Was that the guy's name?
Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, or it's Matt Damon. It's Matt Damon. It's not
Okay,
Mark
that makes
Wahlberg.
way more sense. Like I said,
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg has narrated probably nothing.
He narrated Spirit's thoughts occasionally in the movie and
I
try to crack
honestly
jokes.
didn't know that. Like I said, I haven't seen that movie in years because I hated it so much.
And honestly, that doesn't add anything to the movie. And I feel like if the movie was expressed more, if there was no talking in it, it would be better. The story is so engaging. The story is beautiful. The animation's beautiful. It's just such a good movie. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't think now, pardon me, especially, that it's good.
Like I said, I have not watched it since I was probably 10, 11, but this is me drawing on the memory that I know that I had, which is this. Spirit, bad. Poo-poo movie. Maybe I'll watch it again because you're giving it this high regard, but you think Shark Tale is bad, so I can't really take your opinion on it.
No, it's so bad.
See, no, Don't see. I'm never watching Spirit. Spirit's bad. Spirit's bad indefinitely. Watch Shark Tale again, and I'll watch Spirit again.
Oh
And I'll come back with a real thought that I have on Spirit, and you come back with a real objective thought on Shark Tale.
Don't make me write a review, because I will. I will write
Dude,
a straight up.
I,
You know what I should do,
I want
Kyle?
you to write whatever comes to mind. I want you to write any review that you can. Once you watch it again and have an objective opinion about the movie and its high-tier comedy,
I'll tell you what I'll
come
do.
back.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Kyle. I'll make it my mission to watch every single DreamWorks movie.
that is a long mission, my friend.
It is, but I mean, it's like what, 30 movies, 20 movies.
No, DreamWorks has to have more than that. I know Pixar doesn't have very many, but DreamWorks has to have way more than that.
Well, you're looking at, let's see. You're looking at 3 series that have 3 movies each. Shrek, Panda, and
Madagascar.
So those are 3 movies each.
And How to Train Your Dragon. That's another 3.
Oh, it's 4. So it's 12.
That's 12.
And then Shrek has 4. So that's 13.
Shrek has 4. No, well, that's 12 movies, and then Shrek. Oh, wait. Okay, you already count Shrek. That's right. So 13.
Right.
There's 2 Trolls.
God, I have to watch the Troll movies.
Now there's 2 Croods. There's Boss Baby. There's Home. Megamind.
So many I haven't
Turbo.
seen.
Rise of the Guardians, which was actually a very good movie. Oh, okay. We're gonna talk about this real quick.
Go for it.
Over the Hedge.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Over the Hedge?
I did watch Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge is not something that I like hold in like the highest regard.
I
but
hold that in such high regard,
but
dude.
It's a decent movie. Like, it's a good kids movie.
I love that movie. Love that movie.
I'll have to go back and watch that too.
Let's see. Prince of Egypt, B movie.
Okay, wait. I thought you were saying Prince of Egypt was a B movie because I wanted to get to Prince of Egypt because I have not seen Prince of Egypt.
I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. Very long.
I think we should watch Prince of Egypt together.
We should. A lot of people love that movie.
People say that's DreamWorks' best movie.
And I have not seen that literally since I was probably 5 years old. That came out, let me see here, 98. So, yeah.
They're going to make a musical.
I'll watch the movie and then determine how I feel about that, but maybe that could be pretty cool.
I'm telling you, like, I've heard everything about that movie, and I still have never seen it. So,
okay, yeah, I'm looking here. DreamWorks has a bajillion and a half movies, dude.
No, I mean just the recent ones. So starting from like, what's the one? It's like 90s era animation.
Not Prince of Egypt. That was 90s. There's El Dorado.
So
also a good movie.
Starting with like El Dorado and on. That's like 25, 30 movies.
Oh yeah. So El Dorado came out in 2000. So yeah, you're looking at all the Shreks, all the Croods, all the Madagascars, all the Kung Fu Pandas, Home, both the Trolls, the Boss Baby, Megamind, Turbo, Over the Hedge, Monsters vs. Aliens, all the How to Train Your Dragons, Shark Tale, Spirit, B movie, someone that came out this year or two, Gerard, I don't know, Legend of the Bone Napper, the Captain Underpants movie.
Okay, the Captain Underpants movie. What is the Bone Napper?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking at
what
this
year
list
did that
here.
come out?
It says Legend of the Bone Napper Dragon. Maybe that's a TV series that they have going on.
Probably.
Maybe that's what that is. That's a spinoff. But anyway, yeah. So there's still quite a few movies that you'd have to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting it to be a little easy, little guy, but I can probably get that done in not saying my next episode, but just for a future episode because I want to talk about this again.
Okay.
So I haven't even gotten to the versus Pixar part.
Yeah, I was about to say, we talked about a lot of DreamWorks.
That's the interesting part to me. So for those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Katzenberg was originally a part of Pixar and Disney. He was an animator and a producer of those movies and shows. He produced, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and Lion King, and Aladdin. So he's really well known for that kind of stuff. Something weird happened. It was some kind of like argument, and I think that's probably more interesting than what I'm making it out to be, but we're going to skip over it. He basically left Disney and created DreamWorks in spite of, that. And that's why, a lot of people were saying, like Bugs Life and Ants came out at the same time. Oh, I forgot about Ants. I thought I had to watch that too.
Right. Well, that was before El Dorado, so I guess you don't have to. But you've never seen it?
No, I've never seen Ants. And I was going to say, just watching from like the start of DreamWorks, which is like 98.
Right. Which was Prince of Egypt, and I think Ants was 98 as well.
Yeah. Because that's when, what's it called? Bugs Life came out.
Right.
Which, by the way, Bugs Life is way, way better. I can already tell.
Far superior. Bugs Life is better. But Ants is a fairly decent movie. It's honestly more gory than you think it would be.
Ew.
Like, there's a battle scene that happens, and then it kind of pans over everything, and it's kind of insect gruesome. Like, it's more than you would think it would be.
So, something that I discovered when I was doing a little bit of research for this episode that I think is super interesting and super funny and hilarious, because in my mind, DreamWorks is the inferior company when it comes to Disney. And that's very clear.
100%. I would agree.
This guy also came out with a streaming service this year. Do you have any idea what that streaming service might be?
Wait, this guy that broke off from Disney and created DreamWorks?
Yes.
He created a streaming service? It's not that Peacock one, is it?
No, it's not Peacock. No, Peacock is like the network, whatever. Is it CBS or what is it?
I don't know much about Peacock. I just kind of threw out a guess.
Peacock is like the TV network streaming service. That's what's gonna have The Office on it, because whatever network.
Oh, right. Oh, so that would be CBS, yeah.
I don't think it's CBS, but
no. What the heck is it? It's not. Is it ABC, CBS, and
MSNBC?
No, it's not MSNBC.
Okay.
I think it is just NBC though. Maybe that's what it is.
Look it up.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna get back to it. Okay, but go on. What's
I want you to guess. I want you to guess.
I honestly have no idea.
Quibi.
He's the one that did. I wasn't gonna guess Quibi because that would be a very. I did not. He's the one that did that.
He's the guy. He's like, I'm gonna make Quibi. That makes me laugh. I didn't even know that until I did research for this episode. It's at the very bottom of his Wikipedia thing. It's like, man, this guy also did Quibi.
What a tank! Quibi.
What a tank!
Two things that were super hyped up this year fell flat on their faces: Stadia and Quibi.
Oh yeah,
fell so flat. Oh, it was NBC, by the way.
NBC?
Not crazy, yeah. So that's Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, Parks and Rec, all NBC, yeah.
Did you say NBC?
Yeah, we said NBC because you said MSNBC, which is the news station, and then I said I think it is NBC because in my brain, you know how you're just kind of associating. You're like, oh, it definitely starts with an N.
I thought you said CBS.
I did it first, and then you said it doesn't matter. It's NBC.
You're right. It doesn't matter at all. They're just three letters. Why are we arguing so much about three letters? But yeah, Quibi. This is the guy behind Quibi. So I don't really expect your opinion when the guy behind Quibi is like, B movie. It's gonna be a good movie. Like, so when you look at it versus Pixar, like their lineup, right? I'm not gonna say Pixar's perfect because they definitely aren't.
No, they got some poo poos.
Like, we can talk about, Good Dinosaur. Trash movie.
The worst Pixar movie is Good Dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's just a rip-off starter story of Lion King.
Yeah.
That's just how it starts. It's just a rip-off of the Lion King, except he dies in a river instead of by some wildebeests. Same thing.
Sad.
And then he and the little kid they get high in the woods. And you're like, hey, this is a movie for children. Like, I know a lot of those movies have nods to adults, like, haha, you understand this joke, adult, and you do not, child. But that is just not one that I felt was needed. That was so stupid.
No, I mean, I don't really mind that. I mean, like you said there's always adult humor in kids movies, and I don't think any kids gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go do drugs now. Like, I don't think that's it at all.
No, but like,
I will say this about Good Dinosaur. I think it gets like a rank up from like, and I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna be really mad at me, all the Cars movies, because it at least has good animation. That's intriguing.
The first Cars, incredible.
No, I disagree. I have to stand my ground.
You shut your mouth. No, get off the ground. I'll die on the hill. Cars 2 is a terrible movie. Cars 2 is awful.
It is.
It is probably worse than any of the DreamWorks movies.
Yeah?
To be honest.
Okay, not any. Don't say any. You're limiting yourself because these movies are not as good as you think they are. I don't think you get it.
No, I do get it. You haven't seen half the movies. You don't get an opinion.
No, of the movies that I've seen, right? We're talking B movie, we're talking Shrek, now listen, Shrek 2 is on a different plane. I don't even consider Shrek 2 a DreamWorks movie at this point. That can be Pixar for all I know. Regardless, the fact is, like, Cars 2 equates to a DreamWorks movie in my mind.
I mean, I'm going to agree for sure. Cars
right.
2 is poop.
Right. So like when I say like a DreamWorks movie, I genuinely mean like a bad movie.
Okay, no, those are not synonymous.
Well, okay.
You can't just say like
I think like
this is a DreamWorks movie to just also mean this is a terrible movie that I'll never watch again. Those are not synonymous. DreamWorks has bangers.
I think Megamind and like How to Train a Dragon are exceptions to the rule. Like of the plethora of movies. I'll find out, I guess.
I would be willing to say, and I would think that my opinion would come out true. In the standard of my opinion, if I flat out said more than half of the DreamWorks movies are good movies, I bet you I could look at that list and then validate that and say, yes, I actually believe that over half of these movies are good movies that I enjoy and would watch if someone asked me to.
All right. We'll come back to like watching. We'll make this a future episode whenever I get done watching all the movies, and we'll go through. And honestly, I haven't seen all Pixar movies. Like I don't think I've seen the third Cars, and there might be one more that I haven't seen.
Third Cars is good. It's animated incredibly well. Third Cars is good. Recommend.
I don't think there's another one I haven't seen besides.
Well, I mean, once you watch all the DreamWorks movies, then your watched movie count will probably double.
You're so stupid. So yeah, it's kind of funny that this guy left Disney, left all that, and made his own company. That sucks. I'm sorry, I can't stop cracking jokes about it.
Is there another Pixar movie that you don't like besides, I guess, either Cars 1 or Cars 2? Is there another one that you don't like? Because I'm racking my brain for one that I don't like.
Let's go through it.
Besides Good Dinosaur also.
I don't like the Cars movies in general. I don't like them. I'm sorry.
Watch the first one again. That's so good.
I watched listen, when I was a kid, I liked them. But as I've grown older, I realized that was literally, it was just like a cash grab. Like it was so cash grabby.
I don't think so.
I just think it doesn't have a good plot. It doesn't inspire me. It's not, Wait,
it doesn't inspire you.
It's an
You see the room of Doc's trophies, and you see that he got absolutely obliterated in a race. And then at the end, he comes back to coach him. Then Dinoco gets obliterated in the same way, and then he stops right at the finish line to not be first place, so that he can go help him because he knew what happened to Doc and didn't want Dinoco to also go through that. Don't tell me that's not inspiring. You're a heartless piece of garbage who thinks that all animated movies are garbage.
Kyle, how dare you? I love animation. How dare you?
Very clearly not, because you think any animation that even tried at comedy is bad, apparently.
I think, like, the character design for me has a lot to do with it. The fact that they're cars, like, if they were probably horses, they're probably, like, a little better. Like
what?
What?
What? That's the word.
No.
How dare you?
Okay.
You'd rather watch a movie that's just called Horses? I wouldn't watch that movie if that had been the movie and it was just talking horses that just kind of ran around. Like there would be nothing of turn left to go right because they're horses.
Okay, listen. I'm going to say this.
I wish you could see how frustrated I am.
The character design has always bothered me.
Why?
It just, they look derpy.
It's not like they modeled all the cars the exact same. They gave all the cars different model cars, and the personality that they have is based off the model car that character is. Like the low ride muscle car has got like that, almost like that kind of Mexican essay voice. So like, hey, low ride with me, girl. Like that's the kind that's so good.
It's very entry level to me. I don't know why I don't like it, but I just don't like it.
Okay, you know what? Let's move on before I grab your neck.
I'm trying to think of another Pixar movie that I don't like.
Okay, let's see. All the Toy Stories are Pixar, obviously.
They're pretty good.
Very good. All of those Toy Story movies are good. Not one of those do I ever watch and think this one kind of fell flat or is bad. All four of them are very good.
Yeah.
Both the Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Obviously, Finding Nemo is better than Finding Dory.
Yeah.
But Finding Dory is a good movie.
I agree.
Ratatouille, great movie.
Wonderful movie.
Great movie.
I think that's one of Pixar's best movies.
I think I agree. It's been a couple years since I've watched Ratatouille, but I love Ratatouille.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching this documentary as a kid of how they motion captured everything, and
really?
I specifically remember them motion capturing when he's like running around himself trying to grab the letter that's in his back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Like they motion captured that part, and I just thought it was really cool watching the side by side.
Cool.
So I think it's a fantastic movie. Fantastic.
I urge you to rewatch it because it's a lot better when you're older. I'm gonna be honest.
And it's got Patton Oswalt voicing Remy. I love Patton Oswalt. He's so funny.
And I'm excited for the musical to come out. The TikTok musical.
That's stupid. I saw this and I started to say stupid there just because I have this disdain for TikTok automatically. But I've seen some of the songs that people come up with, and they're really creative.
I think this is like one of the coolest ideas ever. I just wish the main song didn't suck. The song that started it all. Because
I don't know if I've seen that. I saw one or two of the songs that I think my siblings sent me because they know I love musical theater.
They say Remy the Ratatouille. Remy is the rat. The lyrics is Remy the Ratatouille. It's dumb. Regardless. So Ratatouille's bop, better than a DreamWorks ever could be. DreamWorks wishes Ratatouille could happen.
Up
is wonderful.
Fantastic movie.
WALL-E's Wonderful.
Inside Out. I know you don't like it, right?
I don't like it that much. It's not like my favorite.
I like Inside Out.
I know.
Amy Poehler.
I think that movie, again, it's just like super basic. It's like, oh, they really didn't try hard at all. It's not like super creative.
Well, I think it's pretty creative. I really like how they went with it, and obviously this is kind of an era where people were being more outspoken about having depression, and Inside Out touches on that, and the little girl that these emotions are inside of, I think her name is Riley. They touch on the fact that she herself has depression.
I think like those parts are good. I'm not saying that it's not even a bad movie. It's like, like DreamWorks, when you compare B movie to that movie.
Okay. Honestly, I'm going to need you to stop dogging on my B movie. Okay? That's a fantastic movie. Everyone in my family loves it. As a matter of fact, I almost bought my little brother one of those curtains that just has the entire B movie script on it.
When the bee got depressed in the movie, it really spoke to me.
Jacob, listen here.
I'm listening.
We're going to move on to Pixar stuff. And then once I hit stop record, you might cease to exist. Okay. Okay. What else is Pixar? Brave.
Okay.
I love Brave.
A lot of people don't like Brave. I like Brave quite a bit.
That is probably like top 3 soundtracks in Pixar movies for me.
Soundtrack is great. I think the animation is where people get messed up on.
I don't know why. It looks the same as anything else.
I disagree. I think it's very stylistic and has a different style, and I think the accents throw people off.
Which is just so stupid.
I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid too, but I mean, it's definitely not its best, but it's really good. I like it.
I love Brave. What else is it? I don't have a list up right now, so I'm starting to blank.
Monsters Inc. and Monsters.
Oh, Monsters Inc. Oh, my favorite Pixar movie.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. and Monsters University are both decent. Incredibles 1 and 2 are decent. Well,
Incredibles. So good.
Incredibles 1 is great. And see, this is the kind of reaction I expect out of when we're talking about Pixar movies.
They're so
You were
good.
not nearly this excited when we were talking about DreamWorks movies.
Pixar is definitely above DreamWorks, but those DreamWorks movies are good. They're so good. But like when I think of a DreamWorks movie, B movie, Shark Tale, whatever the heck, I'm like, oh, that's such a good movie. But then you say Monsters Inc., the first Incredibles, Finding Nemo, I'm like, oh, it's such a good movie. I want to watch it right now because you just said the word and I want to watch it.
Yeah.
Let's see. A Bug's Life. Obviously, we talked about that at the beginning. Fantastic.
I really love Bug's Life.
Fantastic. Coco's so good.
Coco.
Such a fantastic movie, and
Great
just
concept,
the
creative.
animation and the colors inside the afterlife
The
or the
colors.
mid afterlife. I don't know what you call that, but
Okay, everybody says that. Every time someone talks about Coco, they always say, I don't know, is it called the underworld? Like, what is it called? I just had it in my head. The Land of the Dead. It's or like the I think it's just called the Land of the Dead.
sure, we'll call it that. That, sure. It's gorgeous,
Everybody
and the whole
always-
concept is very cool about like not having your picture on a mantle and you can't get through. I think that's so creative.
It's wonderful.
Bringing in the Mexican
Cultural.
culture of the Day of the Dead. Very cool. Oh, Onward, which came out earlier this year.
Onward. A lot of people have disdain for Onward. I thought Onward was a great movie.
I love Onward. Everyone in my family loved Onward, so I don't know where you hear disdain from it. I haven't, but
on the
I love it.
interwebs. On the interwebs.
I loved it.
So when you look at like Pixar's list,
Oh, and Wall-E.
I think we already talked about WALL-E, didn't we?
I don't think we did, but great movie. Love Wall-E.
WALL-E's like one of my top 10 movies. I love
Fantastic.
WALL-E. Like when you look at that lineup, it doesn't even like it's like DreamWorks doesn't even exist.
Oh, it blows DreamWorks out of the water.
like I could never watch Megamind again.
I mean, I definitely could. That's a good movie.
I'm saying I could never watch it again if that meant that if it was okay, Pixar or DreamWorks, which one stays? I'd be like, I wouldn't even think.
No, Pixar every time.
Because, DreamWorks is
Don't do. Be careful with your word choice unless you want to keep living.
valid. I'll say that.
DreamWorks
it's
is valid. That's the same as saying DreamWorks exists.
Exactly.
The movies happened.
They do.
You know what, Jacob? Give me right now a firm opinion from 1 to 10. Overarching score that you give DreamWorks, even though you've only seen like 5 of DreamWorks movies.
Can I give my Pixar first?
Well, that depends on what note you want to end on. Because, I give Pixar first. Because once I hear your DreamWorks score, I'm probably going to kill you. And I don't want to kill you before I get your Pixar score. So let's get that out of the way. Let's get the Pixar score. 1 to 10.
8.
8. Okay, I'm giving it a 9.
Pixar is definitely not perfect. And I think it
not
needs
perfect.
something new.
Speaking of which, Soul. How do you feel about that?
That is going to be a good movie.
I think it's going to be very good.
I really hope they don't mess it up. And because like they did the same thing with like Princess and the Frog, which I think is a good movie.
So good.
But they take these things about race and then they just like they mess it up somehow. Like it's so easy not to mess it up, but they messed it up. Like with Princess and the Frog, right? It's the first black princess. It's like, oh man, so cool. She's a frog. 3/4 of the movie. It's like what?
It's that Smosh bit for trying not to laugh. Jackie comes in. She's like, "You guys got to stay human for the entire movie."
Yeah, that's
okay. So Soul isn't. I don't remember much of the trailers that I've seen, but Soul isn't very race based, is it? It's just more
it's
of
just
a
about
trying to get back into Earth.
Okay,
because he shouldn't be dead yet,
it's like Inside Out, but about a jazz player. So the premise of the story, essentially, from what I understand it, is this guy who plays jazz, who's loved music all his life. The whole movie kind of plays around jazz.
Right.
Unexpectedly dies, and he's in the afterlife and like has to come back. So it's not like Inside Out, but it plays on the another movie does this in Pixar or Disney, I can't remember which one, but like it plays on the afterlife, things about your life that matter,
right,
and someone helps him along the way.
Coco does that.
Coco, that's what I'm thinking of. So it's kind of like Coco for people have said it's like Coco for black people. So now my long-awaited DreamWorks score.
Okay, let's hear it. I gave Pixar a 9. You gave it an 8.
Can I hear your DreamWorks score first, just so I can get a frame reference?
Okay. Honestly, I want Spirit to bring it down so low, but
You're so full of it.
Like I said, I haven't seen it in a while. I will watch it again, and I will leave my opinion for Spirit out of the equation to my score for now. So I think for right now, I'm gonna give DreamWorks. I'm gonna give it 6.5 or 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 7. I'm just gonna give it a good 7.
Okay. Keep in mind, this is without Prince of Egypt, which I think will bring the score up much higher.
And you've also seen like 5 DreamWorks movies.
Okay, listen, I have seen all the Madagascars.
You haven't seen the Kung Fu Pandas.
That's what I'm saying.
Panda is
my
top tier DreamWorks.
So when I give you this score, it's not going to include Kung Fu Panda because I've never seen it.
We will one day come back to this and get you a new score.
I make that a promise. This is gonna be a future episode. I didn't intend it for this to happen, but since we're all it's such an emotionally charged episode,
yeah, I'm furious.
We're definitely gonna come back to this. So I'm excited to come back to this later. So keep in mind, I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda. I love Spirit and Megamind.
Okay.
But pretty much everything else I don't like that much. Like I don't hold it for a high regard. I give DreamWorks a 4.
Okay. You know what? I can live with that.
Really? I was expecting you to get really mad.
No, because you're honestly basing this off of like 2 movies.
No, Kyle, I've seen a lot of DreamWorks movies. I've seen, like I said, all 3 Madagascars. I've seen the Bee movie. I've seen Shreks. I've seen all 4 Shreks.
Okay.
I just now watched How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2. I haven't seen the 3rd one yet. I've seen at least 10 of these movies out of like 25.
I'm going to be okay with 4 because you haven't seen the Kung Fu Panda movies. That's the only reason I'm going to be okay with this for a little bit.
You and every other DreamWorks fan I've seen online is riding so much on Kung Fu Panda, and I hope to God it does not suck. Because if it sucks, I'm going to be so mad at you.
Is a very, very good movie. Okay, now, can you just very quickly explain to me why you don't like the first Shrek?
It's not that I don't like it. It's just now it is overhyped. And I do agree. Like, and to be fair, I haven't seen this movie in a very long time.
Yeah, I was about to ask, when was the last time you saw Shark Tale or the first Madagascar or Bee movie?
Shark Tale, I had a pretty recent viewing, and I've also listened to people talk about this online because Shark Tale is a movie that has a lot of meme reference. I've listened to people talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of this stuff I agree with. It doesn't make sense why this movie exists like this, like all the, I don't know. Anyways, regardless, Shrek. I have not seen Shrek in a long time. I know that I still love Shrek 2, and I know that Shrek the 4th, that was the last one I watched, was pretty good. Shrek the 3rd, everyone hates Shrek the 3rd. That's the one I remember the most.
I mean, 3 and 4, they're kind of okay.
Everyone likes the 4th one. Everyone says that they should delete the 3rd one and just put the 4th one in there and just give Shrek his kids and just make it unexplained.
I honestly don't remember the last time that I saw the 4th one. I remember liking the 3rd.
They don't. I remember the 3rd the most. And
Is
I
the
remember
4th one where they bring Rumpelstiltskin?
Yes.
Okay.
He looks like Shane Dawson.
Yeah. See, I don't remember really liking that one.
I don't remember.
It was okay.
Like I said, I don't have very strong opinions on Shrek. I may have said I don't like him, but I think it's just because now it is so overblown. It's like everywhere and all these Shrek memes. And I think at first they were really, really funny. But now it's just like...
I think you just need to do your best and just kind of dissociate yourself with the Shrek meme culture for the sake of an hour and 20, 30 minutes, whatever. My little brother could tell you the exact runtime. I don't know it. Yeah, and just watch the first Shrek just as a movie, and then you will see why it is so beloved by anyone that claims to be an American. Because it's such a good movie.
You live in Siberia, you don't love Shrek. I don't make the rules.
It's impossible. There's no way that you could understand it the way that we do.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, that about wraps things up. I just kind of wanted to talk about DreamWorks because I'm kind of...
I am mad about the 4. Go back. I'm mad about the 4. And realizing how many of the movies you've seen, you're going to watch the first Shrek objectively and then come back with a new score. Just that movie alone.
No, I want to watch all the movies because I need to watch them anyways, right? So whenever I watch them all, I'll come back and give my score, and I'll see how much it's gone up or down.
It's not... Jacob, I swear
we still have
to the ever-loving earth, Mother Nature herself, if you come back with a score lower than 4 after watching more DreamWorks movies, most of which are ones that are considered to be some of the best DreamWorks movies, if you somehow come back with a lower score than 4 out of 10, I will personally see to it that you never watch another movie. I will make it my life's
How
mission
would you do that?
to blind you in a way that I can't be blamed for or jailed for, or I'll just gouge your eyes out with a spoon. I don't care. You come back with a lower score than 4, I will end you. Plain and simple.
All right. We'll see what happens. And with that, folks, we've finished yet another engaging, maybe funny, I don't know,
I laughed.
episode of Milk and Screams. If you have anything to add, please feel free to message us or, post on Twitter or whatever about DreamWorks and Disney and Pixar. And maybe, you know what? Maybe I've just been microchipped by Disney to just consume all that they put out and not be critical of it. Maybe that's the thing. And maybe watching all this DreamWorks will jog my memory.
Maybe the debate doesn't matter. Maybe in 5 years, Disney's going to own everything in the world anyway, and DreamWorks will just cease to exist.
Yeah, they'll probably assassinate Jeffrey Katzenberg and just, because Squidward was such a failure.
And just slap the Disney intro into every DreamWorks movie.
No one will notice.
The thing goes over the castle. And, Disney movies, they're all so good.
B-movie? All right. We'll talk at you guys next week. I hope you guys have a good week. Hope you guys stay safe. Stay out of the COVID.
Yeah, get out of the COVID. Don't be like me.
Don't
get
be
out
like
of it.
Kyle. We'll see you guys next week.